Hey, what's up? This is Creative Writing on Wednesday, and even though nobody's watching, oh, there's one. You can watch it later. The same link is always the same video. This one that I posted, I'm going to delete because now it's in the full version with the classwork and all that stuff right here. And if you're watching this video now, if you're watching it later, it's the same link, same everything. That's why I'm doing it this way. It's great. So we read a story or two, and if you turn those in, I may have graded them. I may be able to do it today. Don't worry. The grade is pretty simple. It's just taking me a long time because I actually do read them. You know, when you turn it in, I read your answers and comment. And this week I've had a lot of National Honor Society stuff. Anyway, let's get to our story. So you want to have a good plan because when you write, it's very possible to run out of steam, to do a couple paragraphs and like, I don't know what to do next. I'm stuck. I might start over. I might go back and change stuff. I might, do a better version from scratch. So you want to have a good plan with like all the core elements so that you can always go back to, okay, here's what matters. I'm going to continue that. And the other stuff, who cares? But you don't want to get too technical and kind of lose the fun either. So we'll try to include both. So some of you guys might already have an idea. You might think, oh, I'm writing a story at home and this is going to be like a chapter of that and I've got an idea. Or you might have 10 things and you don't know which one to pick. Or you might have none, but hopefully we can pick one, try to put it through this process. And if you try to answer the questions and they're not happening, maybe that means the idea needs to change a little. And hopefully I'll explain that as we go without making the video 90 minutes long. And you can choose whatever you want to write about. It can be a story about robots or clouds or humans or whatever you like. And that's not the issue. The issue is all the core stuff. So one, who's your main character? You want to think about that. And when I say who, you don't have to get into deep description. You don't have to say what kind of color shoes they're wearing or anything like that. But you want to have a name and a little bit of a setting, a little bit of the key stuff, maybe age is what matters, maybe the time, things like that. And you can worry about the other stuff later. You can worry about, oh, do they have siblings or do they have a certain hairstyle? If you think of one of those and it's like giving you cool ideas, great, but don't worry about, it's not like a video game where you start creating the character at the beginning and you have to choose like all the details before you even play. You can go back to those later. 2, and here's where we get to the good stuff. What does your character want? Okay? If there's ever a story that's boring, it's probably this part lacking. Okay? It's probably that whatever they want is not clear or it's not strong enough. And if we knew right at the beginning what they want, and they really want it, then we'd have a better idea. So, for example, in the stories we've read, the use of force, our guy walks in, he's trying to get a diagnosis. That's pretty clear. The girl also has super clear motivation in what she does, even though we don't know it until later, it's still there. She's like, I don't want to talk to this guy. I want him to go away. I want things to go back to normal. And that matters. Like, that comes out in what she does, even if it doesn't get listed by the narrator. It is important that the author knows it to make this stuff real and to make her strong and compelling and not bland. Okay? So that might be the hardest part, but it's the most important part. 3, we gotta have conflict. Okay, we gotta have conflict. Whenever your character tries to get what they want, what goes wrong? Okay, because if they try to get it and it works and they go, great, thanks, and go home, then that's not a story. If the doctor walked in and said, hey, little girl, what's going on? She said, tell you what, I got a sore throat. Then that'd be the end, right? It'd be 2 sentences and he'd take her to the hospital and do more tests and they'd see what happens. Or in real life, maybe he wouldn't have had to go there in the first place because they would have already known the deal and didn't need the expert diagnosis. But you need something to go wrong, and it does not have to be another character. It could be like good versus evil, hero and villain. I want to get the magic sword and I want to stop you. But it could be other forces. It could be I want to get the magic sword, but I've learned that it doesn't exist, and now I have to deal with my disappointment. Or it could be somebody else got it. Or I have to go through the dark dungeon and fight the goblins. Or I doubt myself and my other half of my personality is fighting against me. It could be a lot of things, and it does not have to be two characters fighting, although that's fine. 4, and this is where we're talking about more of the end stuff. How does your character change? And when I talk about this, this is sort of beginning. What do they want? Middle, what goes wrong? End, how do they change? But obviously, as you end up writing it for real, you could change your mind and change plan, but it's good to have a plan and not just hope it works out, you know. But you want to think about how does your character change, because if they don't, then why is there a story at all? Why did we go through all the trouble, you know? They got to have something push them hard enough to make them change, where maybe you need to beef up the conflict, beef up what goes wrong, or maybe you need to beef up the desire, make them care more so they go further in pursuit of their goal, you know. But these are like real technical things. You don't have to magically know. It's often when we talk about creativity, it's in terms of like unexplainable, you know, oh, the muse has visited me and bestowed inspiration upon me. And that's cool. And sometimes you do have ideas and you just get them in the shower or get them when you're walking. You don't have to worry about the source. But often you get an idea and it's not good until you make it good. So you have to do technical stuff. And often it's pretty simple stuff. Like if you want your character to change, well, you got to give them a conflict that's tough enough. And if you want to make them stick with it, you got to make them want it enough. So that kind of thing is very important to plan. But finally, we don't want to get just technical. We want to get into the fun, creative, motivating aspects as well. So what's the one cool thing you definitely want to include in this story? Maybe you had an idea about like a final showdown where the one guy's got one type of powers and the other guy has another type. Or maybe you've got like a cool setting where you're like, oh, this is a world where everybody's a squirrel. I don't know. Whatever it is, don't forget about that. If you had to like, you know, promise yourself, I'm going to include this one thing, what would that be? And that's just as important as the rest, because if you get led astray and you end up not including that, you might feel disappointed. Or if you get halfway through and you're not motivated, you might think, let me go back to my original commitment and see what it was I wanted to embody so much. That is the plan. Friday we have an e-learning day, which is not really A or B. It's kind of all classes. Post something in the morning, and then throughout the day, what I'm probably going to be doing is grading, because I'm going to have things piled up that I won't have graded yet. But I'll also be available for office hours. I'm going to have a Google Meet open on my second monitor, and whenever somebody pops in, I will answer their question or give them feedback or whatever they need. So that's the plan. If you guys haven't done the previous ones, well, first of all, don't worry because I haven't graded them all yet, but take your time, turn them in, do what you got to do, and then look at this one, which is the first sort of multi-day project, because we're going to use this for the next part, which we're going to use for the part after that. And if you need to take a little time to make sure you're interested, make sure you're committed to this, then please do so. Thanks.